everyone, and welcome to another episode of the NYH podcast. And on today's episode, I've got the pleasure of talking with Joe Short from, as you can see in the background, Brickjackets. Joe, how are we?
Not bad, about yourself?
Yeah, good. This is one of the first times in front of the camera for you.
It certainly is. It is the first time, to be honest with you. It's sort of, it's time to do it.
Yeah, a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm sure you'll be all right.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous, but yeah.
Well, we'll get into all that, how your nerves are throughout the podcast. But I guess before we start talking about Brickjackets, it's always nice to know about the person behind it all, and pretty much you can start from wherever you want, from day one if you want, and tell us your journey of getting to where you are now.
Yeah, I suppose. Obviously, I'm a bricklayer, and I've done the normal thing, sort of left school and went to college, done the college thing, and went out on site as an apprentice bricklayer and stuff, and then gradually sort of like an improver and then the fully fledged bricklayer side of things. I did a fair stint on site for about 3 odd years. I had the pleasure of working with some really nice guys, to be fair. I was really fortunate, to be fair, and I still speak to them guys now today, so still got quite good relationships. I was really I was lucky there, to be fair. And yeah, so then I went. My dad was a bricklayer by trade, and that's really who sort of inspired me to become a bricklayer. Was my dad, and he taught me a hell of a lot. So I did the college thing, in amongst working for my dad here, the odd day here and there. Then I went and done the site thing for about 3 years full time, and then I sort of wanted to go back to the domestic stuff because I sort of enjoyed that a lot more.
Did you do your apprenticeship with your dad, or did you do it with
No, I didn't, to be honest with you. I went out and done it with a big company.
Yeah.
So obviously my dad see that I needed to go out, just become more of a fully fledged bricklayer, and you do get that from being on site. You pick up your speed, your tips and tricks and bits and pieces, and even though my dad taught me the fundamentals, and he's a really good bricklayer, my dad was, and I went out on site. He sort of, looking back now, it was totally the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like to go out on site, become that more rounded bricklayer, and it taught me a lot. To be fair, it did taught me a lot. And then obviously I sort of had enough of the site work, and I went back working with my dad on and off in amongst doing my own bits and pieces, as generally you probably do in that at that early age, in sort of like early 20s. You sort of start picking up your own bits of work, as you probably well know, and then
you preferred the domestics. Did you prefer the domestic side because it's without the site rules and stuff, or was it because you were working with your dad, do you think?
Probably more so working with my dad, to be fair. Even though I enjoyed the site work, I did my stint on site, I really enjoyed my time there, but my art was with the domestic side, to be perfectly honest with you, because obviously, even though I'm a bricklayer by trade, I still enjoyed a hell of a lot that,
bit of joinery,
everything like plasterboarding and your bit of drainage and patios and drives and all that sort of side of things. And I really enjoyed that sort of stuff.
That's good. Would you? So you'd recommend starting bricklaying as a career then to anybody who's listening?
100%. I would never. I don't regret anything. To be, you'd listen, bricklaying has his hard days. It's just not bricklaying. Every job in the construction industry has its hard days with regards to the elements.
Yeah.
And but I don't regret it for 1 second. No, I really enjoy the bricklaying side still. Given any opportunities, you will know.
Yeah.
I loved it. Come out and do a day with yourself on site the other week, and I was just in my element. I really enjoyed it. So it's just something that obviously was handed down from my dad to myself, which I hold that in my heart very dearly. And I don't think I could ever give it up. Given the opportunity, if someone said, "Joe, do you know what? We wouldn't give us a hand on Saturday," I'd have no objections whatsoever jumping on, and I would enjoy every minute of it. So yeah.
Did you used to? So when you were younger, would you go out and spend days with your dad at weekends or school holidays and
Saturdays,
things like that?
Saturdays and school holidays, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah, without a doubt. It was just from a young age that was as well. Really, probably about 13, 14. I sort of really got the hunger for it, and and sort of I was inspired. To be honest with you, I'll tell you a story now. Like literally, my dad used to call me Pockets a lot, and. But when I was about 14, 15, my dad said, "Come and get your hands out your pockets and do something." But I was never, and I promise you, I was never ever like just hands in the pockets, not wanting to do anything. I was in awe of what my dad was doing. I was watching exactly what he was doing at all times, why he was doing it, and I was summing it up in the head. His technique and how he approached the wall when he laying his bricks, and how he approached the wall even when he was pointing, when it was time to brush off, etc. I was just it was all going in.
Yeah.
And but my dad obviously, he will say to me, if you're not doing nothing, go and make a cup of tea. But I wasn't not just doing anything. I was watching exactly what he was doing.
Being a sponge and soaking it
I
all
was
up.
really, yeah, to be fair. And I learnt so much off him, to be honest with you. And it's like the domestic side of stuff. It's really where my passion's at with regards to, rather than the site work sort of thing. That I don't regret going on site for 1 second. I've really learnt a lot, and I worked with some great lads. But domestic was really, it was what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I used to say to our apprentices that we used to have, I used to say, do your 3-year apprenticeship, do a year with us, and then leave. Not that you're a bad person, and we don't want you, but you get to see the big bad world out there. There's more to life than just working for the company that I work for, or just working for the company like with your dad. So I think it is a good thing that he did to tell you to go out and get involved with other companies and see how it's done, because you can bring fresh ideas back to him as well.
I did have a lot, to be fair, and profiles being one of them.
Yeah,
I know there's a sort of thing going on in the bricklaying world, profiles, not profiles. I'm happy to embrace them. I use them where I need to, and I won't where I don't. And I sort of took the Dutch pins. I took a Dutch pin back to my dad, working with him on a Saturday, building some internal walls. And I put a batten up the wall one side extension and a batten up the wall the other side extension with Dutch pins, and pulled the line between the pair. And my dad he didn't have to say anything, my dad, to be fair. He was one of them fellas, if he looked and he'd just nod and he would turn and walk away, and I knew he accepted, and he thought that was a good idea. Because if he didn't, he would tell me.
Yeah.
And he was one of them sort of guys. But yeah, even just with regards to profiles, putting a profile up, bracing it off a couple of scaffold boards, transferring the datum levels over, taping down, and when he see it all set up and he just had to lay to the line, he was like, all right. He was accepting of it, sort of thing. But
he enjoys that modernisation of it, I guess.
He did.
So that's cool. I mean, you speak very highly of your dad, and it's great to hear. And those days on site that you had together with him, they'll last in your memories forever.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And it's just like, I entered a brickwork competition last week, and we had an apprentice with us while we was doing the set piece the whole day. And it's funny because I was just teaching them bits and pieces like that. It just went back to sort of like working with my dad at a young age and stuff and bits and pieces that he taught me. And a couple of them things I just batted off towards him, and he was like, oh, you could see the penny drop with them and stuff. And it was nice to sort of one hand think back and sort of stuff my dad had taught me, and then in the next breath it takes you back.
The knowledge he taught you, you're passing that on to another generation.
Yeah, it was good. And
they can go away and then pass that knowledge on to somebody else.
That's it.
And is the one memory that sticks out in your mind from when you were any age really, from younger up to older age, of working on site with your dad, that made you most proud, or the funniest moment, or all of the above?
Yeah, pretty much all of the above. Yeah. It was quite a good. He had some banter. He did have some banter, and he was a good crack to be around. But at the same time, one hell of a tradesman. Yeah. Really good, knowledgeable, and took pride in what he did. Yeah. And I like that.
Yeah, taught you valuable life lessons. But it's sad to say he's no longer with us now, is he?
No, he didn't. It's been it was 8 years March the 1st. Yeah, it was a tough one to swallow that, to be fair. But like I said the other day, going back to the college thing, passing that stuff on was it's priceless.
How did it affect you when he actually did die? Did it affect you in a massive way, or did it take a while to get to? Yeah,
it took me a long while to get me around it, to be honest with you. Just that, he suddenly died of a heart attack, and it was just, he was removed literally from, like, I used to speak to my dad on a regular basis 2-3 times a day. Sometimes I'd ring him and he'd go, "What now?" And that is how he would have said it, but it was only said in jest, and it was banter to and fro in, and but I used to speak to him on a regular basis. I bounce stuff off him, say I'll come up against a situation and go, ring Dad up, "Dad, look, blah blah, I've got this blah situation here, we're doing this, that and the other, what do you reckon?" And he'll go, "You know how to do it, come on." He said, blah 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 blah, but sometimes I just need that reassurance, and I'm sure, so many people in different walks of life will go to their parents for that reassurance, but I was lucky I could go to my dad for that reassurance with regards to the building.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that, when that really affected me going forward. But even though I was as old as what I was 34 I think when my dad died. It was just like, even up to the week prior of him dying, I would still ring him in that situation. I'd come up with, or I'd have a chat about something, or he'd throw something in and say, right, funny enough, I did it like this.
Yeah.
But he was always there, especially in the early days of the Brickjackets as well. He was there for me to bounce everything off him. And but yeah, it was a big shock. And but like I said, he taught me a hell of a lot, and I certainly carry it forward.
Yeah. My next question was, did he get to see the success of Brickjackets?
He was there in the really early days. I was actually working on one of my dad's jobs when we came up. Well, I came up with the Brickjackets idea, and this is like sort of I want to get this story out there as to how it happened. And the honest truth of the matter was, I'd loaded out with the block work on an extension, and I sort of said to my dad, look, I'm going to come in over Christmas. I'm loaded out just for a bit of extra money, and he said, yeah, no problem, that's fine. And so I think it was a day after Boxing Day. I think it's 2009. Day after Boxing Day, I went into work, and it'd been windy and stuff. So I was walking down the driveway to the customer's house, and as I looked across, there was the next door neighbour's Golf. He had a black Golf, and it was 2009 car. It's brand new. And I looked on the roof, and I thought, I hope that's not my mutt board on his roof. But obviously, it wasn't anybody else's bar than mine.
Yeah.
And what I'd done, I covered the blocks up on the scaffolding on the second lift, put the mutt board on top. And plastic was the window got round it, and obviously the mutt board come off. And I had to ring my dad and say what had happened, and yeah, you can imagine he called me a few things and stuff like, you know, blah blah blah. And, but anyway, he was all right about it, and the actual fact the neighbour was all right about it, and my dad had to pay for it to be repaired and whatnot. So, but yeah, anyway, I went home that day and I didn't earn any money.
Yeah.
The blocks were soaking wet. I sort of had the ump of what had happened, and so yeah, it was just as funny as that. I sort of had the ump the rest of the day. In the evening, went to bed, 10 o'clock, something like that. I couldn't sleep. I was just that, I don't know, I was wound up by it, yeah. And I thought, you know what, it's got something easy just to cover your bricks or blocks. It's just as easy as that. At the end of the day, rather than looking around for scraps and plastic that look really untidy anyway, just literally go to the van, get some covers out, cover the blocks or your bricks, and go home.
Yeah.
So I got up, I went down to the shed, pulled out 2 bulk bags, which I had in the shed. They were brand new. I used to keep them for collecting the leaves in the garden and stuff. Yeah. And it was as funny as that, really. I sat on my kitchen table, and I got some scissors out, cut all the bulk bags up into the shape. Went out to the shed again to get a nail, bent it, heated it up on the cooker, made some holes in the plastic of the bulk bag, and I stripped out on a bulk bag. It's full of like the way it's constructed. It's just all strips of.
Yeah.
So I pulled all the strips out, stitched it all round, made the shape, got it how I sort of roughly wanted it. And even my wife Candice come down. She come down about 1:30 in the morning, 2 in the morning. She said, "What are you doing?" Because the lights were on and stuff, and I sort of said,
like an old science lab as well, didn't it?
Yeah, sort of like warm plastic and stuff where I've been heating stuff up, to get it through. And she said, "What are you doing?" And she looked. I said, "Well, like I just made a brick jacket, like a cover sort of thing, like cover the bricks and blocks." And she looked at me in such a way, like I think even the penny dropped with Candice really, as its potential, what it potentially did.
Yeah.
And because I'd obviously explained the whole situation to her, what had happened during the course of the day, and then the next day I sort of went to bed, left it downstairs. Rang my dad up, and I said, I've made something. And he, "What do you mean you've made something?" I said, "Come round and have a look." And he come round. He took one look at it, and I sort of told him, and he just gave it that look, and he didn't say anything. But like going back to the profile thing,
yeah,
I could see in my dad that he knew that it was all right and it would work.
Yeah.
And then obviously the conversations went on, and what we're going to do about it, and how you're going to do it, and then it was just a big old process really. Over that was 2009, so over 2009, 2010, 2011, it was sort of a bit of a drawn out process because I had no money.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money at all. and my dad wasn't a wealthy man by any stretch of the imagination. He was just a working class man.
Yeah.
And so over the 2 years, I sort of I just spent every spare penny I had going on to the next stage with it. So having it designed, I took it to a company, we designed it properly. I took it through the patents pending stage and done a load of legal paperwork and bits and pieces like that. And that took a long time because I didn't have any money at all. So I had to do it in small snippets, where you know. And at that stage, it was, I don't know, it's so frustrating and daunting because I was investing money into something that I didn't really know was going to work.
Yeah.
And it's only me, my dad, and my wife that knew at that point, because I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. And then, before I knew it was that sort of 2 years was up, and then I could approach market with it. So I went to a company who sort of made me some Brickjackets, and I was still at that stage where I didn't know whether it's going to work. I didn't know it's going to sell, so I had to invest more money, obviously buy some Brickjackets. And then the only way we was going to, because this was like in 2011 by then.
It's sort of coming out of the recession, weren't we?
Yeah, we were sort of coming out of the recession. Social media wasn't really a thing, if you know what I mean. It was, but it wasn't. I think we probably had Twitter or something and Facebook. But so the only route to market with it, to introduce it to somebody impartial, buying my dad and my wife, was the Professional Builders magazine. Okay. So it was on the counter of every builders merchant. So I just picked one up randomly one day, looking in the back, and I thought, they've got a classified ad, and all right, maybe we could do that. And so we did, put a classified ad in there, and then we done a trade day in Harrogate. That was through the Professional Builders magazine. They organised a big trade day and stuff, and I think I had 500 Brickjackets initially made, and me and my dad trundled all the way up to Harrogate in my truck with bricks on the back, a couple of hundred bricks, a few blocks, a few muck boards, and 500 Brickjackets. And I said to my dad on the way up there, I said, "Dad, we've got to sell some up here." I said, "If we don't," I said, "we haven't got enough diesel to get home." Yeah. And I said, that was the truth. Yeah. I had a full tank of diesel. I had about 40 quid to my name. And we drove up there. And it was funny, to be fair, when we initially got there and we walked in. And we sort of walked in and met the guy, and he said, "Joe, I've got you a really good pitch. You're right in the middle and in amongst it." So I thought, okay, brilliant. So we walked in and had a little look. And as I looked to one side, you had, I think it's Senko nail guns. They was opposite me. Lovely, beautiful trade stand and stuff. And I looked to the other side, and Stanley was there with some massive trade stands. And opposite me was DeWalt. And I was like, bloody hell. And I looked at my dad, and he looked at me. And then anyway, the guy sort of carried on walking, and he nudged me, and he said, "Do you think we're in the wrong place here, mate?" And I went, "Yes, Dad, I think we do. This is quite daunting, isn't it?" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "But we're here now. Yeah. Let's do it." And we did. We went out to the van, the truck, and with a big barrow thing that they provided us with to, bring all your bits and pieces in. And we loaded it up with bricks first and a couple of muck boards. And as we're walking past like the big tray stands, they was all looking at us like, "Just gonna brick a window opening up down here." That was my dad's sort of thing. Oh, and they didn't say nothing about it. But when we actually set the trade stand up, everybody was walking past and going, "Oh, right, okay, that looks all right." Yeah. And it did actually. By the time we set it up, it was pretty decent. And and then we went from there really. And I think sold 100 the first day. And I was like, yes, I was just more excited that I could get home. Obviously I had enough diesel to get home then, and then obviously when I realised and reflected on it back in the hotel, and actually said to my dad, "Do you know what, we've sold 100 today. This could work." Yeah. And I think the penny dropped on my dad really, and he said, "Yeah, no, that's good. It's good." But I've got to admit, my dad sold all 100.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I was very nervous. I was like, I wasn't too sure. But my dad, he's one of them characters that sort of, he could talk to anybody. Yeah. And he's obviously a really friendly guy, and he sort of took to it, and yeah. So, but I will hold my hands up now that he sold the initial first 100, my dad. So yeah. But yeah, that was about it really. And then, yeah.
Have you got any of the originals left? Still hold any of the original first 500?
I've got quite a few. Yeah. Bits and pieces. I've got still quite a few. There's bloody loads of them, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've got a few in the shed.
Yeah, you can never get rid of them.
No.
The memories that are attached to them and the journey that it's been. Was there any point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I'm pushing my family to the extreme here.
Yeah, loads. To be honest with you, there was loads of points like that where initially before we even went to take it to the trade fair, and I was so much doubt and thinking, do you know what? Like, we just still didn't know what was going to happen, and certainly thereafter, I think we started sort of like doing a bit of social media stuff on Facebook in the early day, and I sort of, it seemed to be like I was talking to you earlier about. It seemed to be like a Friday night trend on Facebook sort of thing, and we got so much stick in the beginning, so much stick, and the stick far outweighed the positives, even though there was some positives from people, but yeah, generally we used to get so many sort of people just dig you out about it, and trolling and stuff, and I took it to heart, to be fair, and that's probably why I've never sort of put my face in front of the camera, probably because do you know what, when you've been down that journey, and I designed the brick jacket and sort of like went along with the whole thing to solve a problem. Yeah. And it was as easy as that. It weren't like, to become rich and blah blah blah, this, that and the other. It was just to solve a problem, and just help people like perhaps that was in my situation that probably needed their money, but it was just as easy as that, to cover up the bricks, and then you come in the next day and they're all dry, and then you can earn money. Yeah, exactly. And you've put your heart and soul into this, and sacrificing so much to get to that point, and then somebody's sat there on a Friday night and just tearing it to pieces. Yeah. It can really, really affect you and knock you. It did. It knocked me massively for ages, and then I really doubted myself. And I'm glad I sort of persevered with it. And I've got to admit, to be honest with you, like, if it weren't for my dad, he was obviously alive then, but if it weren't for my dad then, I probably would have turned it in. Yeah. To be fair, like, and he said, no, come on, like, you've come this far. Yeah. So yeah, he was probably the whole reason really why I sort of carried on with it. But yeah, it just goes to show that you do need to surround yourself with the right people, and if it doesn't matter what other people can say about you and destroy what you're trying to achieve. If you've got the right people around you, obviously your dad and Candice, we met Candice over the weekend, and she has been there for you all the way as well, and totally supported you, massive for me, and believed in you. But having people to believe in you is a massive thing as well, because if you can, when you start doubting yourself and thinking, no, this is no good, this is not what I want to do, this is not going to work, that self-doubt start coming in, that self-saboteur starts coming in. If you've got those people around you saying, no, come on, Joe, you can do this, you've got this. Really, like, both, my dad was so supportive, and obviously Candice was just, she was a rock behind the scenes, to be fair, and stuck with it and sort of believed in it as much as what I did, sort of thing. But and she was there when, I don't know what, another bad comment, but then she sort of tried to keep me up, And, but yeah, no, I'm glad I did, because we sort of cracked on with it a little bit and sort of got a bit of headwind with it there, and then obviously, but that 2014, that's when my dad passed. Right. And just as I was getting a little bit of headwind with it, a little bit, and so then it sort of took me a long while to get over it, to be fair, and I sort of sold all the stock, and I didn't replace anything. I wasn't responding to emails and stuff, because I just lost the heart. Yeah, I sort of lost my heart in it, really, and I sort of lost my confidence, and my dad was my confidence, like I could speak to him about anything. But then, and you were grieving as well. Yeah, I would have said so, 100%, and I just felt a little bit lost with it all. And then it was about 2000, so that was probably about 18 months to 2 years before I sort of started doing anything with it again. So were you still laying brick at this point? Yeah, still laying bricks, and and I sort of, it took me a couple of years to sort of get my head around it again, and funny enough, just talking to one of me, like my best mate, really, just talking to him, and he said, "What are you doing with it?" He said, "You can't let that go," and and it's sort of just a conversation over a dinner table, really. And he said, "You can't let that go." And I said, "Well, I know, really, I shouldn't do." I said, "But if come on then, come on with us, and then let's see what happens."
Yeah.
And he was sort of like a bit of probably the kick up the backside what I needed, really, to sort of. I got a bit of like just through talking to him at the dinner table, and it made me think. I thought, yeah, I can't really let it go, really. And so he came on partnership, and from that point, I sort of got in the saddle with it again. With support from him as well, and we sort of bounced off each other, and obviously Candice as well, and just got in the boat and started paddling again.
Yeah,
really.
It's having somebody there that you're what's the word, accountable to. Yeah, it gives you that drive, because sometimes you can get stuck in a vicious rut, can't you? Think, what's the point? And well, I don't have to. At the time, it wasn't your main source of income. It wasn't. Yeah, it was something that's bubbling away in the background, and you could just concentrate and go and lay brick and earn money and take the easy route out, which we know it's not an easy route to go down. But obviously, you're grieving, and the person that you used to speak to all the time and rely on to give you that confidence and that support was obviously suddenly taken out of your life, and it has a huge effect on you.
It does. It just goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like even with the work, I'd ring him up just about something. I knew how to do it anyway. It was just a bit of reassurance, and just see if he'd had any other thoughts or he'd done it a different way. But even with the Brickjackets, like I didn't always know the right answer because we was learning on our feet, and my dad didn't always know the right answer, but he certainly would give me an educated view of it all. Yeah. And sort of put it in the right perspective and perhaps how it should be approached, and he was just always there to bounce stuff off. Yeah. But and then obviously when Ben came on to Brickjackets, probably bounced things off of each other, and just got in a boat and started paddling, all three of us really, and then.
Did you go all in and come off the tools and just?
I've been off the tools now for about 3.5 years, I think. Right. So then it got to the stage where you couldn't paddle two boats. Yeah. And
stressing yourself out, pulling every direction and not achieving anything. And
exactly. Just when you think you get a bit of headwind with something, and then obviously you've got to go back to your bricklaying, and then 2 days later you find yourself on a bit of a rainy day, so right, let's jump back in, and where was I with that again? Yeah. And it's just, and then so I decided, and Ben as well, that we needed to get in and paddle hard in the same boat, and that's what we done, and then we started to get more and more headwind, and and it was just seemed to get better and better, which it's it's what it needed, and I think all the timing was right, how it all happened and stuff, and I'm glad I made the decision when I did to sort of get in and paddle as hard as I could with the Brickjackets, definitely, because it's been a funny journey. It's been a funny journey to here.
It's been worth it. I'd definitely say it's worth it now, and you're out there now helping everybody on a weekend and get any opportunity to jump on the trowel.
No, I do, definitely, without a doubt. I know obviously Brickjackets is my full-time job now, and but like I said, there's no way I try away at a day's work for anybody, because bricklaying is just, it's what I do, it's what I know, and it's been my life since as long as I can remember, really. Like I said, like early teens on the sites and my dad's jobs and stuff, and when you've done something for so long like that, and then all of a sudden you stop, and like I was just doing the Brickjackets, I found it really hard. The first few months I was like, so hard, because like your mind's like, you're trying to focus on and progress in what you're doing in your Brickjackets, but we're so used to sort of doing construction. If the phone goes, and it might be one of your mates or just some guys you used to work with, or just even a customer, it could be a customer. Oh, Joe, I was just interested if you was just, I want to do a driveway and stuff. And you, okay, no problem. Yeah, all right, no, I'll pop around Saturday. And you think,
am I going to fit that in?
Just agreed to go and look at a job on Saturday. I'm not supposed to. Do you know what? I'm really, really sorry. Just, and then, but it's funny when you speak to the customers and say, look, I'm actually doing like my Brickjackets full time now, and they're like, Brickjackets, what's that then, Joe? Yeah. and then you sort of explain, and it's like, oh, do you know what? Like, fantastic, that's great news and stuff, and well done you and that. And but yeah, it was really hard to sort of break away from the building because it's so. That's what you've done. Forever.
Yeah.
And but like I said, when I came up and done a day's work with yourself and Matt, and sort of I've done days for SQ2 and stuff, and I just love it.
Yeah.
I just love it, and
it's your meditation now.
Yeah.
It gives you, because obviously the Brickjackets take so much of your headspace and everything like that. And you know, you can go to work with one of us and just switch off, relax. And all you got to think about is the next brick in front of you.
That's it.
And whatever's going on. It was a miserable day when you came up to work with me, but it was still a good day.
Yeah, that's it. That's just bricklaying.
Yeah, it is,
you accept it. And
I bet it's hard on it. Like yesterday, I was sat in front of the computer editing videos and stuff for 10, 12 hours, and it was glorious sunshine outside. I was sat there feeling guilty, thinking, I should be outside laying, I should be doing this. Did that take a while to get over? Or do you still get that now?
Yeah. I do, really, yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
And like I said, especially like when you follow other people's stories on social media, and like that's like I was saying the weekend, like, and I'd say it to everybody as well, like watching everybody's stories now, that's where I get my sort of bricklaying fix from, if you like. And like I can get to the office and stuff, and you think, oh, so-and-so's putting the steels in today, like, and watch, you sort of like, and I know all their jobs, like, you know, day by day what's happening with their jobs and stuff, but I find that really satisfying to watch like other people's stories and that, and especially, yeah, because you can follow the stories to how their jobs are progressing and stuff, and but yeah, I do like the stories on Instagram with regards to the progression of people's jobs and stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, you can look back and say, I've done that job with my dad, or I've done that bit with my dad, and it brings back good memories like that. So I guess my next question is, apart from Brickjackets, what's Joe all about? What makes Joe tick apart from bricks and Brickjackets? Or if we cut you in half, does he just say London Brick in the middle of it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. Do you know what? I'm just Joe. I sort of tend to stay in my own lane. Yeah, I love my family and my kids. I get so much satisfaction out of like my daughter. She loves horse riding, so I like to go and watch her horse ride. My boy's played football. He's 19 now, Joe. I had Joe early. I was 23 when I had Joe, so he's 19, full grown man, and I just love watching him play football.
Yeah.
Like I do not. Any time he's playing, I'm there. Like we come back Sunday.
Yeah.
So we had a 2-hour 45-minute drive home from Weymouth. Drove back home. I was in the door 20 minutes, half an hour tops, and I said, "Okay, right, where's the game?" He said, "In Crystal Palace." And I knew it's 50 minutes an hour into South London. Oh, all right, okay. Got in the car, drive off to the game. So it's 50 minutes here and watch the game, 50 minutes home. So, but yeah, no, I enjoy watching him play. It's gives me so much satisfaction, to be fair. And but yeah, just both. Yeah, that's it. I'm just a family man, and I ain't got many hobbies nowadays. To be fair, I think that's just part and the parcel of getting older, isn't it? It's just like
find yourself in your chair more and more.
Yeah, pretty much. No. I like to get on my motorbike here or there, but where it's nice weather, and where it is nice weather only, I don't go out in the wet at all.
Fair weather biker.
Exactly that. But other than that, that's just...
With the success of Brickjackets, do you find that it can consume your time a lot of the time and overtake that, creep into that downtime and your family time?
100%. 100%. My daughter's 12, and like you go over to Blue Water to watch a film or something on a Friday night, and you come out cinema, and she's like, "Dad, I'm on my phone at 9. Someone's messaged on Instagram about Brickjackets," and I just feel all the time I don't want to let anybody down, so I like to reshare a lot of stuff and sort of get back to people as quick as possible. And cause that's just how I am. I was like that in the building, not give a good service and do a great job, and that's how I've always been, and that's how my dad taught me. So carried that forward onto Brickjackets. But obviously, like, it does impact your life. Like I said, coming out of the cinema at 9 at night, and Darcy says, "Dad," and I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's really, really hard. But I think just generally being self-employed, I think can impact your life with regards to pricing and certainly going to look at jobs.
Yeah, it can definitely. It's hard to set those boundaries for yourself. We spoke about it a lot on the last podcast with Dave Finnegan, or Dave Elwood, as everybody seems to know him as. But saying he gets people ringing him at 9, 10 o'clock at night, thinking it's acceptable to give him a call about hanging a door and things like that. But obviously, it's people, and it's difficult when is sales related, and you obviously need the sales to keep the business going and things like that. But
I used to be exactly the same in the building though. Like I said, you just explained there that Dave would have someone ring him up 10 o'clock at night hanging the door. I'd be exactly the same. But I would find, a customer ring me about something, and I would give them my time. I would talk to them, and just because that's just me. And I think a lot of people, like I said, being self-employed and running their own businesses, certainly would have experienced that. And I think some people can turn their phone off and just forget it, and then some people can't. And
you're one that can't.
I'm the one that can't. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll keep having chats, and I'll say to you, I'll text you at 10 o'clock at night, and if you reply back to me and say, why are you texting me back?
Oh, don't. Yeah, it's funny going to building industry though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Where do you see, do you have a big plan for your next stage, or either yourself or Brickjackets, or what you'd like to do? Or
do you know what? I don't really give that much forward. I stay in my lane, and I just keep paddling, and I don't really know what the future holds for Brickjackets. Obviously, I'd like to get naturally progress, just like anybody would in any which way, shape or form for whatever you're doing in life. Obviously, the aim of the game is to progress, and I'd just like to progress naturally and just remain busy. I'll be over the moon too, really.
Yeah,
But in the meanwhile, if someone wants to hand bricklaying, give me a shout.
Joe's your man. You've heard it here. You know everybody's going to be inboxing you now, saying, "Come and help us here." It'll be Richie. He'll be sending you one from Scotland, or Andy all the way up in Scotland. But it's great listening to your story, Joe, and you're an absolute pleasure to be around, and you've helped us so much from the beginning of the podcast. When we very first started over a year ago, you've shown us loads of support, and we really, really appreciate that. I can't thank you enough.
No, it's no problems. Absolute pleasure, honestly. No, no worries whatsoever. Yeah, glad to help. But most definitely. If you've got any more days' work up there on the trail, I'll be there as well.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of days work up north. Get yourself past Watford.
Yeah, no, I loved it that day. To be fair, it was a good day. It was an early start for myself, and but come up, I had a good day's collar with 3 nice fellas.
Yeah.
And a long journey home on the train, but I was beaming from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Loved it. So it's good, mate. No, certainly.
It's good to do things that make you happy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there you go. As that could be my new hobby.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Twice a week, get out and lay a few bricks with people. That's it, and that's my downtime.
That can be your downtime. That can take you to your happy place.
Yeah. No, certainly. No, it definitely does. Without a doubt, because like I said, it's just when you've done something for that long, like from a kid, really,
it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I always associate myself as Rob the bricklayer, and it's when people ask me, "Oh, well, what do you do?" I'm a bricklayer, and it's I guess it's being proud of what you do as well.
Yeah, of course, you trade it.
Yeah, and it's the trade. I'm proud to be part of the culture that's now, hopefully we're starting to build a new culture within the construction industry, that you can sit and have these conversations, and you can all come together like we did at the weekend with everybody at the Bricklayer Social Club, and all the great people that are out now on social media. And you've seen both ends of it. You've seen the early stages of social media where you were getting stick every single night, but on the flip side of it, you dug your heels in, you stuck at it, and you're now coming out the other side and reaping the rewards and having great friendships and great times.
No, 100%, mate. And I think, like I said, that's why I sort of really support what you do, because obviously I think I've said to you before, a lot of people have sort of like mental health issues along the way, but perhaps they're having battles in their own mind with stuff that's going on with work and family life, and I think sometimes it can consume people, and some people deal with stress in totally different ways.
Yeah.
And I think mental health is a big part of the building industry as a whole, and I think for people like yourself, just getting it out there and just saying, do you know what, it's all right to have a talk with your mate about something that that's going around in your head, and it can't do no harm.
No, exactly, it can't. And it's people seem to think that, oh, they don't want to know my problems. That my problems is nothing compared to what they're going through. But like when I first started talking about it, all the guys that I spoke with at work, they were like, oh yeah, I felt like that when I was your age, and I went through that, and this is what I did. And off the back of the conversations that I had, then that gave me the confidence to start talking openly and honestly about how I was feeling with things. And hopefully now with the podcast and with the help and support of amazing people like yourself, Joe, we can get that message out there, and people can realise that Joe's had them struggles. He's pushed hard with his business to get to where it is today. There was times where he wanted to give up. There was times where the trolls almost got the better of him. He had to deal with a massive loss of his dad along the way, and he's still here, he's still going, he's still thriving, and he's doing an amazing job at what he does, and it's a true credit to you. And I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, I know your dad will be up there looking down, smiling at how proud he is of what you've achieved in relatively a short time.
I know, I think, like I said, I think the first one we sold was like 2011, so we're like 10 years in now. And I do have a look up sometimes to say, you watching this? Like, you know, even like today, where he would know that I wouldn't like sort of speak into a camera and stuff like that. But I'd like to think so, definitely. But it's just obviously where I lost my dad, but then obviously, you know, you got my missus there in the background, Candice I could talk to a hell of a lot about stuff, and obviously then Ben came on, and so I could sort of bounce stuff off of him. So then it, you know, I sort of did a bit of that. But then, some people just perhaps can't do that. No. And that's where people like yourself can come in and sort of be there as a pillar for someone to sort of like vent a little bit and sort of get out there. Get out the system. It's a great thing, mate, what you're doing, for sure.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Joe.
No problems. I'm here, I'm done it.
Done it. That's it. You can go back and you can be very proud. You can walk out with your chest puffed out now. There'll be no stopping you now. Everybody will be like, God, Joe won't get off the TV. Off the screen now. Oh, Joe's on the screen again. But no, thank you very much for coming down today. Thank you for taking the time.
No, like I said, I'm glad. I'm glad you said you would do it, so I was over the moon with that. Yeah, quality.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thanks to the team at Bill Vaney again. They've lent us our studio. I think I'm going to get my own desk in their offices soon. Now I'm down here that often, but thank you to everybody who's listened to this podcast, or if you've watched it on YouTube, because we are bringing them out on YouTube now all the time. And if you're listening to it, head over to YouTube and give it a listen. And if you are watching on YouTube, head over to Spotify and give it a listen on Spotify. But again, thank you for coming along on the journey. Let us know if you'd like to know any more about Brickjackets. I'll put all their stuff in the description and where you can buy them and what their social handles are and everything like that. And if you know anybody that might need the information that we spoke about today, please share it and subscribe and all that sort of good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Perfect. Oh. Well done, Joe. Well done.